Hello and welcome to my TED Talk on punctuality. You're probably wondering, why the hell is she giving a TED Talk on punctuality? She's always late, and that's exactly the reason why. My parents really tried to raise me with the value of punctuality. My mom is never late, she's always on time, but still with whatever advice I would get, I struggled, and I kept struggling, and I've been struggling my whole life. These struggles come with enough comments from society. Comments like, yeah, you're a distraction to others, you're careless, you don't put in any effort, it's an unprofessional working attitude, or it's disrespectful. And I guess these are all thoughts that I started to internalize. Am I really this terrible? Because I try really hard, but for some reason I just can't be on time. So I went to look for answers, and apparently it's a very layered answer. So let's dive in. About 15% of the population is neurodivergent, 15 to 20%. This is the umbrella term of basically having a brain that works different from others, from ADHD, autism, depression, to anything that's not neurotypical. Two symptoms of neurodivergency are what I want to highlight, and that really have something to do with the ability to be punctual. The first one is time blindness. Time blindness is something neurodivergent people experience where they can't really perceive how long something will take. Like the passage of time is not as clear cut as it might be for a neurotypical person. So here in the now, I'm fine, but whatever happened in the past or is supposed to happen in the future is really hard to visualize. Another symptom that also has an interaction on punctuality is executive dysfunction. One thing that neurodivergent may struggle with is executive dysfunction, which basically means your brain is constantly making up things to do, organizing your life, making decisions the whole time. That's your executive function skills. When you have executive dysfunction skills, that means that sometimes your brain just can't push the action button. Like, I know what's supposed to happen, but just the action button of like, now I'm gonna get up and go on a run, or now I'm gonna put on my shoes, or now I'm gonna brush my teeth, just doesn't work. Someone is blocking it. It isn't an easy straight path of, I wanna brush my teeth, so I brush my teeth. No, it's, I wanna brush my teeth, but for some reason I can't get up. It's very frustrating. So these are two symptoms that neurodivergent people struggle with, and that you can imagine might make it more difficult to, for example, arrive on time. But that's not all. Neurodivergent people also have can struggle with what's called a delayed sleep phase syndrome. So typical people have a natural circadian rhythm from 11 p.m. till 7 a.m. So that's when you sleep and you wake up at 7 a.m. and you feel rested. For neurodivergent people, it's usually that this is a bit shifted. So a natural rhythm for them would be 2 a.m. till 10 a.m. Which means that when I have to be up early for school at 10 a.m., I basically have to wake up at a time that's against my natural rhythm. So not only am I struggling with these symptoms, I also have to go against my natural sleeping patterns. Okay, so this is all, yeah, Zoe, these are your personal problems. That seems like a you thing you need to solve. But that's not all. This is just looking at an individual level, but there is also a cultural level to look at the value of punctuality. because I went to work in Greece this summer, and suddenly there was a whole different way of approaching time. So I researched that as well. And apparently there's a difference in between polychronic approach to time and a monochronic approach to time. A monochronic approach to time would be, for example, what we have in the Western world. I here have some visualization for you. In the Western world, activities happen one after another. We follow time and it's linear. In a polychronic approach, people are more event or personality based. So instead of following time and something happens at 9 a.m., something happens at 10 a.m., and go through the day like that, they tend to be a bit more flexible with how they use their time. And being punctual or being too late isn't all that big of a thing, or as big of a insult to the people who are there, because they prioritize their time to their needs, to their events, while in a monochronic approach it's the other way around. Time functions as a baseline for where to plan your events. So one example of this is when cycling to work, a monochronic person, when they run into a friend, would just keep cycling because they need to be in time for work, while a polychronic person would stop and maybe have a short chat with the friend they see and then go off to work, maybe being a few minutes late, but having prioritized the event or relationship with the person in the moment. So what do we now do when we know all this information of it's not that easy to be on time, and it's also maybe not natural to be on time for people. It's not there in their values. And that's really interesting because we get to choose our own values in class. So when I look at all these things that were said about me, I just have to say I disagree. It's made harder for me to be on time. So instead of being punished for being 10 minutes late, I feel like I should be applauded for even making it there with all the symptoms and all the struggles that I have working against it. So I think we should delete all this and just dive straight into some solutions, because it's very valid that it's a distraction or that you feel like effort might not be put in, but we have to create a class for everyone to feel safe in. And telling me to just be on time is the same as telling someone else to just not be distracted, because it's not that easy an answer. So I have some solutions. My first solution is one of a little bit of spatial design, classroom design. I think one distractibility that I notice when people are late is that they still have to find their seat in the classroom. So I propose a very low effort option for this, is that before and after class we always make sure that we have a 24 chairs set up for, so there's a chair for every person in our class to participate, no problem. But apart from this, the way we fill in those seats should be from furthest from the classroom door to closest. So when somebody is late, they can come in and just easily slip into the seats that are closest to the classroom door, instead of still having to find a seat, having to walk through all the class, and people have to shift or make space. This already tries to take away that extra liability. Another problem is about the accountability. When I am, for example, in a executive dysfunction mind state, it's very hard for me to communicate and verbalize my thoughts. So I can't just send, hey, I'm gonna be late, because My brain literally can't come up with the words. So I propose a secret code to try to tackle this problem. This emoji would just say in the group chat, hey, I'm late, or error, or something happened, or I'm on my way, just whatever you need it to mean. So you can let your classmates know, hey, something happened, something's up, something is troubling me, but it's hard to verbalize, it's hard to do something with it, I'm dealing with it, and once I'm there, you'll see me. And of course, I will be happy to explain and take accountability. This makes it easier to communicate to your classmates that something wrong, but also don't make it too hard. There are also loads of other different solutions and things you can try to just make the working environment a bit easier. One thing that I thought might be fun to try is make it a little educational exercise out of it. Somebody is half an hour late, so they missed half an hour. When they walk into class, play a little association game. People say 5 words to bring the late person up to speed. The late person says 1 word and you continue with class. These are all just random solutions that I try to make the community nicer and better. And these are some things that I offer that we can work off from. And now that we're at the end of this presentation, I just want to apologize for also being too late by handing in this. But I hope you enjoyed, and I hope we can work towards a nice community. I didn't think of an ending, but this should be clear.